So previously I have made a video regarding the condition damage of the Revenant, and I have been received a number of good feedback about that video. So as requested, I'm now making the Condition Renegades as part of the new specializations of the Revenant. I can tell you right now that I'm very pleased with the decisions that the developer has made in regard to having a specialization that is tailored toward the condition damage for the Revenant. And I can tell you from the fact that I have been using my Condition Renegade on almost every single occasion, ranging from raids to Fractal of the Mist to meta events to dungeons to solo content, even in World v War. Just FYI, because I went back and started doing a lot of World v War recently. So I use my Condition Renegade on almost every single one of those occasions, and I absolutely love it. So without further ado, let's just dive into the specializations and see what I can do for you in regard to the build. So now let's talk about the Condition Renegade specialization. So what I have with me at the moment is Devastation, Corruptions, and Renegade. Now previously in my video I have stated that the Condition Revenant, now upgraded to the Condition Renegade, it has the ability to inflict 3 main condition damage types. The first one is the poison, the second one is the torment, and the last one is the burning. Now the Torment is a strong condition damage type, I'm not denying it, but the drawback of this one is due to its ability to inflict extra condition damage onto the target when the target is moving. So if the target is static, standing on one spot, then you won't be able to deal the extra bonus damage, and so that is the drawback. Compared to that, you have the poison and the burning, which is not really relying on that special bonus damage to be able to deal the maximum amount of damage. These two straight off, the draw damage is just fixed. So 2 burning stacks will give you 2047 damage. This one stack will give you 1202 damage. So these one are more preferred when I am doing a lot of content, and this one I would prefer to stack more when I am doing any competitive gameplay. So in, for example, the World v War environment, then I would prefer this. Or in some of the high-end contents, if the boss is moving around a lot, so for example if you're doing raids and if the target enemy is like Matthias, or that's a boss of wing 3, or maybe VG, Veil Guardian, the boss of wing 1, so these bosses move around quite a lot. So given that reason, then in that case, then this one will also be applicable. So just some information for those of you who have not watched my Condition Revenant video where I explain in detail on these condition damage types. Right, so Devastation, I have top, bottom, and top. So this one, I have the increase in ferocity when I'm wielding the weapon, and as you can see in here, I have my axe. I have my mace as my main hand, and I have my axe as my offhand. So they will give me an increase in 150 points in my ferocity, and ferocity translates to critical damage. I'll get on to the reason why I'm choosing ferocity as one of my stats for these specializations, because this one links to the equipment. Now for the next one, I have Assassin Presence. This one increases the ferocity of the nearby allies, so that's really good. 250 points in critical damage will increase your overall party damage quite a significant amount, because a lot of builds out there will rely on the critical damage at the current time of me filming this video, and so having an increase in ferocity will also help them deal damage as well. So that's my intention. Now for the last one, I have the Swift Termination. So deal increased damage to foes below the health threshold. So 50% when the foe is reaching 50%, you can deal an additional 20% in your damage. So that's something that I want to pump up more damage, because I know that in the meta events, when I'm soloing game, when I'm soloing some solo contents, or even if I'm doing the high-end content, so Fractal of the Mist and Rage, I prefer to pump out more damage when the boss is about to die. So that's my intention, and subsequently that's the reason why I choose this. Now for the corruptions, I have bottom, middle, and top. So in my previous video, I have stated the importance of of having the Venom enhancement, because your mace and your axe, these two will inflict a lot of torment, because torment is your main condition damage tab, one of your main condition damage tabs, but you can also make the others to become your main condition damage tab as well, as the result of having the Venom enhancement. So whenever you apply the torment condition damage onto the enemy, you will also apply the poison, and that is the reason why the condition renegade has the ability to inflict both torment and poison as main condition damage tab. So for the second one, Abyssal Chill. So whenever you chill a foe, you also inflict torment on them. So for example, this one right here, that's your chill, and also some of other skills that you have as well, also inflicting the chill onto the target enemy. So this one right here, Unyielding Anguish, so chill. So then the last one, I have Diabolic Inferno. So this one will burn my nearby foes whenever I use an elite skill, and as you can see in here that I do use my elite skill a lot, and I will get onto the demonstrations in the mechanic sections. So I'll leave it as it is for now, but yeah, that's the reason why I'm selecting this. So for the last one, I have Renegade. So in my previous video, Condition Revenant, I was a little bit dissatisfied with the Condition Revenant purely on the basics that we did not have any pure specialization that allows me to focus more entirely onto the condition damage. So with the release of Path of Fire replacing the specialization to Hero, I'm now switching toward to the Renegade, because Renegade compared to the Hero is more focusing for condition damage purpose, and that is something that I'm very pleased to see that the developer finally decided to make a specialization that is more toward specialized toward the condition damage instead of having it as a hybrid like the Hero. So regarding the Renegade specialization, I have middle, and middle. All three of them are to be in the middle. Reason for that is because the Renegade specialization is tailoring toward more support, but it also allowing you to deal a lot of condition damage as well. So the first thing first is that you have the Blood Fury. So the Fury increases the duration of bleeds you inflict, and gaining Fury inspires you with the colors fervor. Yeah, I think I pronounced that right. Anyway, so it will increase your ferocity by 50 points, and it also increase your condition damage by 3%. That, my friend, is significant, because 3% in condition damage, given the fact that your gears will be tailored toward condition damage, a 3% increase in condition damage is a significant amount, and trust me on this, you will deal a lot of damage with this build. And the next one, I have the Hurt Piece. So your short bow skill is now Piece, and bleeding you inflict will deal more damage. And in your secondary weapon set, you will be using the short bow as part of your weapons, and that will inflict a lot of bleeding. And on top of that, the burning. So it's 3 condition damage tabs, main condition damage tabs, the poison, the torment, the burning, and now you have the access to the bleeding because of this specialization. So for the last one, I have the Lasting Legacy. So this one will allow me to have might, and additionally, when I have might, I can increase my physical damage in the form of power and also condition damage. So the more I have, the better, because might is a boon that allows me to have an increase in damage and condition damage, and stack intensively. So at 25 might stacks, I do a lot of condition damage, and that is my preference. And also having 3 of them, increase in 3%, increase in 3%, so that's 6% in total. And on top of that, you have other abilities, as part of your attributes as well. So this one also 3%, so 3% in this, 3% in this, and 3% in it. That 9% of your condition damage increase in total, and that adding with other minor attributes as well. And so as you can see in here, this specialization Renegade is more preferred compared to having the Hero, and I'm very pleased that they have finally decided to give us a pure condition damage build, or actually the specs for the Revenant. Now let's talk about my weapon choice, and subsequently I'll explain to you about the mechanic of the Condition Revenant. So Condition Revenants, you will be using the mace and the axe as your main weapon set. The reason for that is because mace is the only weapon that allows you to deal condition damage onto the target enemy, and so that is the only reason why I am using the mace. If I have any other weapons, I would make sure that I use it, but because mace is the only one that has the ability to inflict condition damage, right? So it's common sense for me to use it. Now the axe allows me to have a soft CC skill in the form of a drift. This one will pull the enemy from the left and from the right into the middle, and that will consider to be a soft CC skill, and it also allows me to inflict the torment and also the confusion. And obviously it does have like chill as well, so every time when I apply chill, I also have the torment. Now for my secondary weapon set, I'm using the short bow because, you know, obvious answer, I am using short bow because Condition Renegade is specialized in the short bow, so that's the only reason why I'm using it. So I know that my answer is a little bit like you don't say, but that's the fact. Yeah. Alright, so for the utility and the mechanics, now interestingly, the Revenant class is not relying on the utilities. By that I imply on the fact that you can't select any utility at all, so instead you have to swap your legendary, and your legendary for the Condition Revenant or Condition Renegade in this case, you'll be swapping between legendary Renegade stance and the legendary Demon Malice. So a little bit of history for you. I do have a good love and hate relationship with this legendary demon stance. The reason for that because Malice the Unyielding, he was, or it was, I don't know the gender, but it was the final boss of the Elix content in Guild Wars 1. It's called the Domain of Anguish, and Malice was the lieutenant of the Abaddon God, and if you play the story you will know who he is. So I'm not going to go into and give you I'm not going to go into detail and give you the spoiler for everything, because in my personal opinion it's better if you find out the story, the historical events behind these characters yourself. And the second one is the legendary Child Renegade Kala. Now I don't really know where she came from, but I believe that she was part of a Char warband that attacks Ascalon, and then subsequently she was part of the North campaign, the final campaign of Guild Wars 1, but I could completely be wrong in this, so you have to forgive me if I don't remember any historical events about this, you know, this character. Alright, so you'll be using these two, and each of these legendary stands will have a different utility for you to use. So the Demon Malice is more toward inflicting condition damage onto the enemies in the form of torment and chill, and after that it can also pose the let me just drag this one over, it's easier for me to explain that way. So as you can see in here, I have Inferno, right? I have stated in my specialization, I will further explain into detail. So every time when you pose your elite skill, you will inflict the burn condition damage to your nearby foe, and as you can see in here that you have the Embrace the Darkness as your elite skill as part of the Demon Malice, the Unyielding stance. So wherever you activate this will keep on posing the torment condition damage to nearby enemies. The maximum number is 5, but the radius is 240. So every time when you're posing this one, this effect will kick in and it will deal additional burn condition damage on top of your torment. And so that is the whole reason why I'm selecting it, because you can deal a lot of damage to multiple enemies or a single enemy, and it will keep on stacking that burn condition damage on top of the torment. So that combo is really extremely powerful given certain scenarios. Alright, so other ones I also use is this one right here. It will give me the ability to inflict torment onto an area, and that will subsequently inflict the poison as well. And I also have the ability to deal damage and apply confusion and remove the boons from my foe. And as part of the Pathify expansion, you will be facing with a lot of mobs that will keep buffing them the boon effects, so might, stability, you name it. And so having this ability right here, you can remove the boon but also deal the damage onto them, so that is really good. Now for the last one, I have the pain absorption. So this one allows me to have the resistant boon, and the condition damage currently on myself are ineffective and it stacks the durations. So this one is really good when you are facing with a target or multiple targets that deal a lot of condition damage onto you. So you can use this to negate that effect, and it can also break your stun as well. So that's even better. Alright, so now let's talk about the legendary char renegade stance color. So I have this one, and this is, in my personal opinion, when I had a look at it first time, I feel like this one is more providing the support, but I was completely wrong, because not only that it's providing support, but it can also increase your damage outgoing to the enemies tremendously, and that is something that I really like. So for the damage, I have the submit, so cleaves submit. This one will increase, so let me just read it out for you. Your outgoing strikes deal additional damage and restore your health. And this one also providing you the ability to give to your allies as well. So not only you but also your allies. So the number of allies targets that can be that can take this ability is 5. And so let me just show you what it looks like right here. So if I drop that one, so anybody standing within that will have the increase in damage, and also they have the ability to regenerate their health in the form of damaging the foe. So that is really good, and that is what I prefer. Now the next one, I have the Razor Claw Rage. So this one, Centurion, I don't know who this person is. Maybe it's one of the dead chars, I don't know. So summon Centurion just Razor Claw from the mist to enhance the attack of your allies. And so this one allows you to provide the ability to have the bleeding condition damage onto your allies, and the more they stand in here, the more bleeding that I can inflict onto the enemy. So that is really good, regardless of what their classes are. So imagine if you are in a party that has a lot of condition damage classes, this one will provide them with the ability to inflict additional bleeding condition damage stacks, and the more that you can inflict onto the enemy, the more damage you will deal, and they will die faster. Trust me on this. I have lost count how many times I have to use this one, and it's also part of your rotation as well, just FYI. Now for this one, this one allows you to have the ability to inflict the vulnerability. So vulnerability is a condition tab that allows you to deal additional damage and also condition damage. For the first one, first utility of this specs, I have the ability to provide stability onto myself and also onto my allies as well, and it can also break me out of stuns. And I do use this one a lot, and in particular the meta events. I do use this one a lot because in meta events, in Pathify expansion, when you're doing bounties, you will be facing with a lot of mobs or bosses that will, you know, stun you, disable you, and then push you out, you know, on the edge or something. And so having stability will make you negate you from that effect, and that is something that I prefer to use to, you know, tackle against that certain scenario. Other than that, you also have the ability to have F2 to F3, F2 to F4. So you have this one allows you to provide you might and also your allies, and this one allows you to drop down an AoE effect that keep on, you know, dealing that damage on that area. And then the last one, you have the ability to have alacrity. Now traditionally, alacrity is purely specific for the Chronomancer. Alacrity allows you to have a reduction in your skill recharge, and 33% is a lot. And so let me just show you an example what it looks like. So imagine that I have elite skill, and I drop this one, and if I drop this F4, see, it went from how many seconds it was, to reducing the cooldown to by 33%. And so it allows me to have the ability to pumping out more skills and subsequently more damage for me. So that's my intention, or helping my team. Alright, so that is all I have to say. Maybe I can talk a little bit about what is my opinion about the short bow. So in my personal opinion, the short bow is a very powerful range weapon for the Condition Renegade, and as you can see in here, you will shoot that and it will focus onto the single target, and this one allows you to burn your enemies in a radius on that circle. And then the last one is also provide you with the additional CC skill in the form of knockdown. So that is what I have to say though. I have to say on this part though, is that I enjoy the Condition Renegade a lot, and I use it as my main these days for when I'm doing meta events. And so I highly recommend you to give it a try and see, you know, if you can make this your main, or maybe you just want to try the class out. I don't know, I'm just giving you the opinion here. Alright, so that is all I have to say regarding the Condition Renegade in regard to the weapons and the utilities. Now let's move on to the equipment choice. Alright, so in regard to my equipment choice, I am using the full Viper set, and in regard to my rune, I am using 4 pieces of Nightmare and 2 pieces of Superior Rune of the Trapper. And that Superior Rune of the Nightmare can only be obtained from the dungeon, the Twilight Arbor. I believe it was level 55. And so for those of you who don't want to run dungeons, I completely understand that. In that case, I'm offering you the second option, which is Superior Rune of the Berserker, 6 pieces of them. So again, let me just state my 2 options for you. The first one is, if you run dungeons, then have 4 pieces Superior Rune of the Nightmare and have 2 pieces the Superior Rune of the Trapper. If you don't want to run dungeons, in that case, then just use the Superior Rune of the Berserker completely. Now in regard to the budget options, these budget options, I will be giving you 2 options. The first one is the Superior Rune of Balthazar, and then the second one is the Superior Rune of Ratasum. Now Balthazar allows you to specialize in burn condition damage, and as you are already aware, in my specializations, the elite skill of your Malice and also on your Kala legendary stance will allow you to keep on posing the burn condition damage to your nearby foes. And so having the Superior Rune of Balthazar is a most logical choice, because you'll be using your elite skill quite a lot, and so subsequently that will be your main condition damage tab. But if you want to focus more onto the poison condition damage tab, then in the case that's fine too. Select the Superior Rune of Ratasum, but however I prefer to use the Superior Rune of Balthazar, but I'm giving you the option for you to choose. And in regard to the sigils, I am using Superior Sigil of Geomancy, because I will be swapping a lot, and my secondary sigil will be either the Superior Sigil of Balthazar or the Superior Sigil of Malice. So take your pick. You know, if you can afford the Superior Sigil of Malice, then go for it, but if not, then Superior Sigil of Balthazar works just fine. Alright, so that is all I have to say in regard to my equipment choice. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comment sections. Other than that, I will see you later.